You're gonna use our TV, our monitors today? Becky's not gonna be here for sure.
Okay.
And I don't know, was Rick gonna be here?
I thought he accepted, but I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I think that's him rolling in.
Yep.
We'll give
White
him-
car?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
We'll give him just a few to run in. Oh, we have to do the pledge. Did you go?
Tell you what, it was a shock. I mean, it was,
Yesterday.
it seemed strange because it's been
was a
so
good day
long.
to skip.
See, like, gosh, we're close together.
Ready when you are.
Oh, I see. Man,
No, I just gotta,
She was just checking to see if you were late.
and you're
You're
not.
gonna be here.
It was,
Oh,
I didn't know what I was gonna do.
No, she couldn't be here if it was yesterday.
I couldn't be here yesterday.
I have an interesting story to share with you when this is done here, so.
Okay. You ready to go?
There you go.
All right, we will go ahead and call the Becker City Council special meeting of the 2021 Street Improvement Project Bid Award on July 27th, 2021. If you'll rise and join us for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have one agenda item. It's the 2021 Street Improvement Project Bid Award. Mr. Knutson, walk us through it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. Randy Sabart from SCH is here. He's going to go through a couple of the details. As you know, we've got a base bid and an alternate. That alternate is around Bonco and work to be done along their property line. So they have not responded. We've been in communication with them, but they've yet to make a decision. Again, it's a $631,000 alternate that we're asking them to contribute 50% of the cost and also dedicate more easement for that. So we knew it was going to be a wrestle at their end, and they're still going. They're asking for more details and more information, so we're optimistic that it's going to go through. But Randy will share a few other details with the contractor and conversations he's had before we ask for final movement on a resolution tonight.
Good evening. So as we kind of discussed at the last meeting, in terms of the schedule for award, what we were trying to build into was some time for the council to be able to consider award with either the base bid or the base bid plus the alternate. In an ideal situation, you make that decision at the front end when you're awarding the contract. In this instance, where we're trying to provide some additional time for Vonco to respond, but we're also trying to weigh the construction calendar and get Dunick Brothers going as soon as possible. So we had reached out and said, we described the situation, what the city is trying to accommodate in terms of Vonco's schedule and in response. We asked them if the city proceeded this evening with award of the base bid, and you eventually got a response that the alternate would be desired to move forward. Would Dunick still honor those prices with a follow-up change order, if you would? They indicated yes, that they would. They have indicated a desire to start mid-August. So from their perspective, awarding the contract tonight on the base bid, and if we followed up at your next meeting, your first meeting in August, Dunick's was agreeable to that approach. So staff are proposing that you would award this evening the base bid, and then following Vonco's response, you'd have the ability to execute a change order adding that alternate to the contract at your next meeting. So that's I think the preferred approach in order to keep Dunnex moving so that we don't lose another 2 weeks before your next meeting and we can start the contracting process and pre-con and all those other preliminaries that we work through before they actually start work. So the request from you this evening then would be to award the base bid with the understanding that we're building in some time to consider the alternate at a later date.
Question? So you mentioned we're talking with them about financial, but, I guess the other part is also the easement piece. I mean, they could literally bring this thing to a grinding halt if they don't agree to the easement piece, cause we can't build the road if we don't have the easement.
Certainly the widening part, that is true, and that has been the other aspect of our dialogue, that it's not just the financial side, it's also the impacts to their landscaping and in the boulevard, the impacts to the easement needs, so it is kind of that whole package that you're describing. Agreed.
And Excel has already said, as far as because we said we wanted to go down the middle, meaning we were gonna cut into Excel's on the other part, have they already agreed to?
So they haven't formally agreed yet in terms of actually granting the easement either. They've been kind of waiting to see whether or not the alternate goes forward with Vonco. So we've engaged staff with Excel similarly, but everyone's, you could say, is what's the final plan going to be? So
But he's waiting for everybody else.
in one respect, yes.
Now, isn't part of that though, where the road was changed from the originally that was a pretty sharp left turn? Isn't that part of right of way yet, or is that,
No.
does that turn back to XL Energy?
So the alignment, obviously, the alignment isn't changing with the proposed project. So whatever existed before in terms of either prescriptive easement or formal easement actually still exists. So even if Avanco didn't do anything, the city still has a prescriptive easement for where the road and
Yeah,
ditches.
no, but what I'm talking about is before this road that's there, before that was built,
Yes,
it used to be, was it even, it was dirt even, wasn't it?
it was a gravel, it was more of a path.
But it went up to that corner and then it was a sharp turn. Well, then there must have been an easement to get, was that old one abandoned and given back?
It must have, because when you look at, for example, the Beacon, Sherburne County's portal for the property descriptions, that curve shows, at least the south side of that curve shows as XL property.
Oh,
So,
okay. So they must have abandoned it and given it back to them.
and I don't have the history back to 2004 to know if that formally happened, but
I think so. Typically, that's what you would do.
Yeah, we just, on those easements, we just finished off the last few with Peterson Farms as well, but Knife River was involved, XL was involved, to re-grant the easements to be consistent with what the road bed is and the prescriptive easements that Randy's talking about. So those are all done now and at legal to reflect the easements with what the road actually is, because some of them were really screwed up. The one went right through Vonco's building, and the other one, so it was completely out of alignment, but all property owners have signed off on them. So they're at legal right now to get the final draft, and they should be all recorded here shortly.
But we have to acquire more land to do this.
Outside of what's existing or what's been cleaned up, yes,
So the additional easements are only if the alternate bid would go through.
that's correct. Well, for the most part, there is one from our RDO office they're in the process of working that for additional drainage towards County Road 11. So we get a bigger ditch out there. It's outside of their cropland, and their land development department has been in agreement with us to be able to do that as well, so.
So Randy, just highlight the base bid is like First Street from Gardner to Sherburne, and then,
yes, so we have essentially 3 project areas. So First Street from Sherburne to Gardner. So we're reclaiming, grinding up that pavement in between the curb and gutter, doing a little bit of excavation, putting gravel down and repaving. So similar to what you've seen in other areas of the community since back to 2017, so same approach. So that's First Street. Similar approach for Liberty Lane. So from Liberty Lane, where we finished the 2019 project on Energy Drive, the west side of LPI, over to Sherburne Avenue South, reclaiming that area, excavating a little bit of the sand material and building a 10-ton section. And then the last larger section would be Sherburne Avenue from Liberty Lane all the way to County Road 11. Again, a reclaiming process, grind it up, leave the gravel lying, and then build bituminous on top. So the other sections that Phil was describing, there are some areas that we were trying to do some drainage improvements, where we were doing some additional ditching on the side of the road. Peterson Farms property, RDO, and then by Vonco would have been the three areas that we were proposing some additional ditching for drainage improvements.
Do we have anything, with the, cause I'm just thinking of all the, northern metals traffic that would be coming from 94, and they like to use, of course, the Vonco Road, and they would have to be rerouted, but then if we are working on Sherburne, that's gonna put them all at Hancock, if we don't time that out right, do we have anything about timing?
So there is a detour plan that would, for example, when Sherburne Avenue South is closed. So we have the, Mike, you may recall the two-phase approach, the north leg down to Vonco's entrance, and then the south leg. So that's represented in the detour plan. But otherwise, we're routing traffic around County Road 11 up 10 and then onto Liberty Lane. So Hancock and or Liberty would be used, or Energy Drive for that matter, would be used as alternate routes in and out of the business park when Sherburne Avenue is closed. And so the staging of that is certainly driven by where the contractor starts, and we don't know that yet, if they're gonna start on Sherburne Avenue or if they're gonna start on Liberty Lane. So we'll get those details, and, you know, Phil and I have talked about how that'll be rolled out and communicated with the industrial park partners that you already engage regularly. So we'll have more details on the preferred detour routes after we visit with Dunix.
Is this the same Denix that, did the golf course work for us about 5-6 years ago? They did some dirt work out there one year, is that the same company?
Yeah, I'm not aware if they've done, they have a golf course operation, ironically, or a golf course division, but I don't know if they've done work for Becker. Yeah,
Yeah, they were in like southwest Minnesota or something,
Yeah.
I thought.
if it was out of Princeburg, then that's the one and the
Okay,
same.
yeah. They
That's
did
their home
bunker work
base.
for us or something.
They're more than just a paving contractor. They develop, they have sewer and water crews, so they kind of cover the gamut of construction.
All right, thank you, Randy. Any other questions for you? Okay.
Well, I will make a motion then to, approve resolution 2163 awarding the 2021 street improvement project to Dunnick.
Second.
Motion from Rick, second from Robin. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made by Rick, second by Mike to adjourn. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned 5:13 PM.
So, State of California today banned, high-end gaming PCs. You cannot buy a high-end gaming PC like an Alienware. You cannot buy them in California as a,
They banned what?
they banned the